Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of IBBY, I'd like to welcome you all here to the discussion panel about the work of IBBY. IBBY's founder, Jelle Lipman, believed that books could build bridges of understanding and peace between people. Because of this strongly held belief, she created IBBY in 1953 as an international organization that would bring children together by means of books. She was convinced that the German children she saw after the war not only needed food, medicine, clothes and shelter, but also books, good books, literature, and especially books from around the world. IBBY is the only organization in the world that represents people of all disciplines from 76 countries who are working to bring children and books together. This network means that knowledge, resources, expertise, and friendship can be shared. In the 16 years since IBBY was created, there has been a dramatic flourishing in quality writing, illustrating and publishing of books for children, and a vast increase in expertise in reading promotion and in bibliotherapy for children in crisis situations. IBBY has been a key catalyst in this growth. Great trees grow from small seeds. The work of previous Alma winners such as Banco del Libro and the Tamer Institute from Palestine began with IBBY seeds. National sections around the world are growing, developing and expanding today with the solidarity and network provided by this unique institution. Today, IBBY has 76 national sections with an international secretariat and nearly 2 full-time staff in Basel. Allow me to introduce our panel of today. At my left hand, Liz Page. She is Executive Director of IBBY. At my right hand, Akos Ofori-Mensah. She is a C member of IBBY since last year and liaison with Africa. She lives in Accra, Ghana. In 1993, Akos has started her own publishing house, the Sub-Saharan Publishers for Children's Books. Also at my right hand, Eva Kalisikami. She is liaison officer of IBBY Greece with a graduate degree in applied linguistics from the University of Edinburgh. She now works as a teacher of English at a Greek private school and as a translator. She was a member of the 2012 Hans Christian Andersen Award jury. I will be your moderator this morning. I'm Wally de Donker from Belgium, former Vice President of IBBY and now IBBY liaison with the European Union. IBBY Italy and IBBY International have launched 2 brand new projects in Lampedusa, the Library for the Refugees and the Silent Books. How did it start?
Lampedusa, this was an idea from IBBY Italy. They saw the need and they came up with a project called Silent Books. The Silent Books are wordless picture books. Picture books that tell a story, or they're just pictures, and they can be used by anyone, regardless of whatever language they have. And the IBBY Italy, they asked for contributions from all the IBBY sections around the world. So wordless picture books came to Lampedusa from all around the world, and they've been in a library there, and they are very much appreciated, they're needed, and after the following tragedies of the last few weeks, they are even more needed. So this was a very exciting project. And it will also form a traveling exhibition that will be worldwide.
Thank you, Liz. Akos, could you outline the functioning of IBBY Ghana and how it has returned to being an active African section?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, IBBY Ghana was established way back somewhere in the 70s, and it was centered at the Ghana Library Board. So all the activities were kind of happening at the Ghana Library Board, and now we are trying to widen the scope of IBBY Ghana. So we've invited other stakeholders in the book industry to help. For instance, we've got publishers who are doing children's books. We've got the Ghana Book Development Council, and we've got NGOs like the Golden Baobab and the Street Library, who are all involved so that we can share the work and cooperate and make IBBY Ghana more active than before. Yeah.
Another question, 9 of 10 countries with the worst literacy rates are situated in Africa. Why is that, do you think?
In my opinion, there are a number of countries in Africa that have had that are having very serious challenges. That is civil strife. Many countries have had civil wars. So when there is instability, when there is political instability, definitely people don't have time even to think about books, let alone the children. So the children tend to suffer when there is civil strife. Therefore, to my mind, the lack of literacy in some African countries is due mostly to this instability.
Good morning to everybody. Actually, IBBY Greece works at 3 levels, let's say. There is a committee of 7 people. Those people are either authors or educators or critics or people who work with children's literature. Then there is a big team of volunteers. Actually, IBBY Greece has 300 members, and 120 almost of them work as a volunteer group. And then we've got the rest of the members who try to help IBBY Greece by their membership. Actually, there is no funding anymore from the state because of the financial situation in Greece. And there is no national center of books anymore. That was a really good partner for Greece. Now, our aim while functioning is just to create programs in order to promote cultivation of reading among kids. We try to publish books with essays from people related to children's literature, etc. We organize contests among authors, illustrators, and people who are interested in children's literature. And then we try to be parts of important networks in Greece, like anti-bullying networks or networks about children's rights. Actually, the key to success is that everybody does everything. This is the way IBBY Greece functions, from the president of IBBY Greece up to the last member that wants to offer something. After this economic crisis that we've been through. The first thing for IBBY Greece, let's start with IBBY Greece, is that there is no state money. We do not get any funding from the state, and that is a problem for us. I mean, IBBY International has helped a lot IBBY Greece within this period. And then the second thing for us is the fact that the National Center of Books has stopped existing. Then there are many bookstores as far as the country is concerned, not only IBBY Greece. There are many bookstores that have been closed, something like 40%, and many publishing houses. Parents do not have money anymore to buy books, or they do not choose to buy books because of the crisis. And teachers are not so much interested in the cultivation of reading. I mean, they take care of other things that appear to be most important at this point. Or they try to focus on things related to health or nutrition, etc.
Really hard times for Greece. Yeah.
That's
But there's
true.
also good news from IBBY Greece because you have launched a new project. Smiling Books Go to School. Could you explain it to us?
Okay, yeah. Actually, that was the only way to deal with some of the problems. We know that schools do not have money anymore, so as to deal with important things like heating, nutrition, buying books, creating libraries, etc. So we decided that our power relies on the fact that we know illustrators, authors, and people involved in children's literature. So we decided to make pairs. One illustration goes together with an author. They create actually stories that are humorous. They can make people and children laugh. We just get funding from the private sector to print books, a collection of such stories. And actually we give for free these books to schools. So what they can do, They can sell each book for about 5 euros. So they can get money, they can earn money so as to support their school. So actually we use children's literature and the people that we know to make money for schools by just getting some funding for printing, etc.
Liz, the EBAsahi Reading Promotion Award is given binary to 2 groups or institutions whose outstanding activities are judged to be making a lasting contribution to reading promotion programs for children and young people. Could you explain the process of judging?
Yes, yes. There's a jury selected every 2 years by members of the EC. It's president, and there's usually 5 or 6 members coming from the EC itself. That's the IBBY Executive Committee. The nominations are solicited from the IBBY sections from around the world. Projects can be in their own countries or in others. After the nomination, the projects are discussed and descriptions are sent to the jury members, and all other materials are sent to the jury members. The jury meeting takes place every 2 years, usually together with the autumn executive committee meeting, and the projects are thoroughly discussed, and the jury selects the winners according to the set criteria. Now then the jury meeting meets in secret. The winners are not known by anybody, not even the president of IBBY, and the winners are announced at the Bologna Book Fair the following year. And the winners are presented at the Congress that year, and they're presented with their prize.
The Children in Crisis, this program is an updated version of what Jelle Lippmann invented after World War II. What is bibliotherapy?
Bibliotherapy is a way of helping the children get through the trauma of what they've been through. Where it started really in Venezuela in the 90s, that they found after there were some disastrous floods, they found that just reading to the children for 5 minutes a day left the children left their problems, and they went into the story for 5 minutes every day. The next day it might be 7 minutes and 10 minutes and so on. And so this was a way of helping the children come to terms with what had happened to their families. They lost their homes. Many in times of war this happens as well. In Palestine this is working as well. So this is the books have to be carefully selected. It's not just any old book that becomes it can be used. For example, in Venezuela after the floods they used The Bridge of Terabithia by Catherine Patterson, and this dealt with drowning, and that very many of the children could listen to the story and they sort of came to terms with what happened and they understood it. That's bibliotherapy very quickly.
ACOS Golden Baobab, in partnership with IBBY Ghana, supports the children's block of the Kolibu Teaching Hospital with a library of African children's books. What are the intentions of this new project?
As you know, in Africa, as children do not have that much access to books. And when children are in hospital, especially those who have to stay in hospital for a long time, it's like they will miss school and they won't see any books, and their mind is always on their illness. So we thought of this library, to divert the attention of the children from their situation and make them a little more cheerful in the hospital, and also keep them happy and make them fall in love with stories, And we also chose African storybooks because we wanted the children to be familiar with, the stories, the characters, and we want the books to be culturally relevant to the children. That's why we chose African children's books, yes.
IBBY Greece participates in almost every IBBY international activity. It has developed a wide range of national activities. Could you give us a few examples?
A good example is the one that you mentioned before about the project of Smiling Stories Go to School. Then we have a series of seminars for teachers, always focusing on the cultivation of reading within schools and children. We have our National Children's Literature Awards. And then we try to do everything to support libraries. We get books because of the awards, and then we try to distribute books to libraries. Then we have good cooperation with many associations. A good example is the Children's Rights Association in Greece, as well as the Association for the Psychosocial Health for Children and Adolescents. We do organize workshops for children and parents, and we have a really good traveling exhibition of EBAsahi posters, the 2nd April EBAsahi posters and their messages. This exhibition travels all around Greece. And finally, we try to connect illustrators within Greece and make events based on their pieces of work.
The Hans Christian Andersen Award we talked about here last year in Frankfurt. It's the most prestigious international award for children's literature. What is its success and how does it work?
Well, I think it's very successful. It introduces authors and illustrators to the world from all other countries. It encourages translations. It introduces these authors and illustrators, and then publishers see them and they offer them translations. It gives the winners, and also in the shortlist and all the nominees, they get invitations. Their work is then recognized. And it opens the eyes of everybody in the world to different cultures, different stories, different styles.
IBBY's biannual congresses bring together IBBY members and other people involved in children's books and reading development from all over the world. In your opinion, what are the most important activities during an IBBY Congress?
Well, I think, first of all, the Hans Christian Andersen Award that is given out to the winners during the Congress is very important, and it's a very exciting moment for all the people who attend the Congress. And also, the theme of the Congress is also important. For instance, next year in Mexico, the theme is on inclusion. That is, everybody should be included. And I think this is a very important theme because in many countries, people with disabilities are sidelined. People who don't have access to books are sidelined. And there so many people are excluded from getting access to books and having books dealing with them. Therefore, I think this theme in Mexico next year is a very exciting one.
Why is IBBY so important for children's literature? Eva?
The first most important reason is that it is through IBBY that you promote reading children's literature. This is the most important thing. Secondly, as far as Greece is concerned, actually through IBBY we can see the worldwide face of children's and adolescents literature. We can exchange ideas with people all around the world, especially through congresses that Liz said before. And IBBY actually, and the activities of it, people participating, Greek people participating in congresses, juries, etc., actually they can understand what is going on in other countries with children's literature, and they can transmit their experience to people, to Greece. It is a direct window to the rest of the world as far as children's literature is concerned.
Well, it's important for me because I'm a children's book publisher, so I think I have a role to play, within the IBBY framework. But I think most importantly, IBBY is promoting reading and making books accessible to children. And in my part of the world, where many countries are kind of behind in everything, IBBY is playing a very important role in making sure that children get access to books. Literacy, as we mentioned earlier, is quite low in Africa. And We've had so many problems in various sections in Africa. I mean, I mentioned Liberia earlier on. There's a generation of people who are about 20 years old and who have never been to school, who have never, had a chance of reading a book, simply because there was a war, a civil war in Liberia. So now, with the peace returning, it's important that, efforts are made to get books and education to these people. So for me, IBBY has a very, very big role to play in the development of education and literacy in Africa. And I'm very happy that I am part of the, of the program to make books available to children in Africa.
In 2014, we'll have the IBBY World Congress in Mexico City. Maybe we'll see you there. Thank you for your attention, everyone.